This is Hannibal here from the Hannibal TV on YouTube with a wrestling news update. WWE is cutting some of the fat from their roster. Isla Dawn has been released. I seem to have heard the name before, but it's no one I'm really familiar with. Also, Sonya Deville. I have heard of her. The authors of Pain, and I will say this about the authors of Pain. Big guys, I think they were just hired because they were big guys that maybe had some amateur wrestling experience. I know one of them was a Canadian amateur wrestler that was pretty good at one point. Good athletes, no doubt, but they had their first run. I understand they're Triple H guys. They had their first run. Nothing much came of it. Then during the time they were released, they did absolutely nothing on the indies. Then Triple H goes back into power, hires them again. I just remember the days, and it's changed, and it's never gonna go back, where you actually have to have some buzz about you to get hired. This was seems to be like a case that where Triple H is back, "Okay, these guys haven't done anything for a year and a half, 2 years. Let's bring them back." I mean, it just seems like a lot of people get contracts these days that don't have to do any work to get them. But at least they made some decent money. They were being managed by Paul Ellering, which again, that whole angle seemed to be a flop with Karrion Kross, who I like Karrion Kross, but again, they brought him in originally. I guess Vince McMahon. I mean, Karrion Kross still has his job, but it seems like despite having a lot of hoopla when he was on the Indies, it never translated to WWE. He is still with WWE, and I do like him as a person. He has a great look to him. Cedric Alexander was also released after 8.5 years with the company, and Blair Davenport, who I'm not really familiar with. I wonder how much Paul Ellering was getting paid for his latest run. There's a guy that's made a ton of money in wrestling over the years. So good for him. And the Road Warriors are by far my favorite tag team. My favorite time of the Road Warriors was when they were in the AWA with Paul Ellering. I wonder if we could see, and this could be cool if they had brought in Paul Ellering with Rachel Ellering in AEW. I think Rachel is under. Actually, I'm positive Rachel is still under AEW contract. They just don't do much with there would be a decent hiring for AEW. They seem to be hiring all these random people like Elias and Rico. Bring in Paul Ellering and have him manage Rachel. I mean that's just a thought. If you're gonna throw around money, at least people know who Paul Ellering is. But the booking of that latest Paul Ellering WWE run was less than stellar. I listened to the Wrestling Observer radio today. It's interesting that they confirmed not Billy Jack Haynes, Michael Hayes. Michael Hayes is working with WWE still actively, even though he's been named in this Janelle Grant thing, which is basically her word against theirs. But the interesting thing is Brock Lesnar, who was also named in the Janelle Grant thing, they haven't used since she first named him over a year ago. He's still under contract. He's just not active. So it's interesting. I guess maybe because Hayes is off camera and and Lesnar is on camera. The real loser in this Janelle Grant case with Lesnar is the fans, because there's one of, without question, the better guys WWE has under contract who's not being used because of her whole situation, which Meltzer did say that the Grant case does have a lot of shades of gray in it. He does feel the Ring Boys case that's back active now with the WWE and Vince McMahon and Linda McMahon. There's a lot of substance to this Ring Boys case, and that will probably be settled. He mentions just how much things have changed, where you had Snuka allegedly killing his ex-girlfriend, who he was found civilly guilty for that on a Tuesday at a WWE taping, and he still main evented on a Friday. And now some like accusations where Lesnar is just named without any like real evidence presented yet, and that can cause him to be out for a year. So what a change in things. Obviously, if the Snuka thing had happened now, it would be a much different story the way news travels. Kevin Owens, and this apparently happened for a while now, but they're just confirming it, has signed a 5-year deal with WWE. Of course, he's one of Triple H's favorites. Gunther versus Jey Uso seems to be one of the main events at WrestleMania, where they mention the most impressive thing about Jey Uso is the crowd reaction to his ring entrance.